I'm the drama like prison wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice, hoping, because you got to hold your breath for justice. To see justice before all face too bleak. Yes, hiss your girl Cadillac. Anyways, I'm coming through today, guys, on March the 24th, 2025. Yes. Ooh, that why was that date so hard for me to say like that? But anyway, so I just released a video just talking about my follow-up because I'm taking you guys along with me on this getting to better health. Y'all been with me through all this other stuff, fighting for my little husband to come home. Y'all been with me through the birth of my grandchildren. So I've been vlogging for a little bit now, y'all. So y'all been with your girl, rolling with your girl Cadillac. So this is no different. I'm gonna take y'all with me on my journey to recovery. Okay, so um, basically ended myself up in ICU. I had a persistent problem. Y'all know I was vlogging about this being dehydrated going to Chicago, not knowing you could get yourself dehydrated in snow. Like that don't even make no sense. And when I tell people, which you need to know if you're living in those states that snow. I even found people that my family members that live in Chicago didn't even know that you could get dehydrated in the snow like that, girl, in the cold weather. So people need to know that. We know about Florida hot. So Florida is hot. Had to use my rapper voice, girl. It is hot. So I know about getting dehydrated in the sun, but I never knew about the cold weather. So basically got dehydrated and could not rehydrate myself. Ended up everything. I had nothing in my body, no potassium, no electrolytes, no nothing needed for nothing. And it basically sent my blood sugar off the like ridiculously off the charts. So I ended up in ICU with something called DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. Upon being released, I do have videos talking about the what ended up happening and all of that. But upon being released, I was released on insulin. So this is my first visitation after being in ICU and also trying to manage this new lifestyle through visitation. And just like my first doctor was telling me, this changes everything in your life. I mean, the way he said it was kind of like, oh, it alarmed me, but it does change everything in your life. Okay, so this weekend, I did previously have Saturday off. I had asked for it a long time ago. So I ended up going to see, I asked for it for another reason. Was it Saturday? No, I didn't have Saturday off. No, I didn't. We got to work on that, girl. We got to start getting them Saturdays off, girl. But I had Friday off the night before. So I got up. I had went to a concert. It was different. That is a whole nother story time. I'll leave it in another story time. But the way my body was responding through that concert, that was different. Because I'm usually, y'all know, I'm a concert goer, and just standing up for long periods of time, the heat, the figuring out what you can eat when you're out, and also maintaining and taking your insulin while being out and about. Girl, that was crazy. But that's a different story time. So this one, I got up the first day, and usually me and Money and the kids, we all visit together. My visitation day was on Sunday, but it changed over to Saturday because that is the only day that my daughter can go. So we hadn't had family visits in a while until my daughter started coming, like getting Saturdays off. So now I switched my visitation day from Sunday to Saturday, which is kind of difficult. It's more difficult. Like I said, prison wise, we contort our lives in such a manner to make sure that we're there for our husbands, right? But it's not the easiest. And sometimes I don't even think they realize that we are manipulating our lives around to accommodate these extreme, like this is crazy, like this is not, it's not really normal to be now, okay, I'm not shaming nobody because girl, you know I'm the OG prison wife, 23 plus years good, right? But it is not normal. Though we try to normalize it and we try our best to keep it moving and keep it pushing through these incarcerations, this is not the normal family dynamic. So it puts a strain on the family and it puts a strain on the wife. Okay, so rather than visiting on Sunday when I'm off, now I visit on Saturday and I do have to go to work afterwards. It is more challenging, but that is the way that all of us can visit together. And then I was like, I can't really keep going Saturday and Sunday because now I'm not having any days off where I can recoup myself. So my days off being spent at visitation means you jump from one work week straight into the next work week. That was the difficulty with that. So this is why we're cutting back, not really going both days like that. But because I was in ICU, I scheduled visitation last week and I did not know that they were going to keep me in the hospital. I went to the emergency room to try to get electrolytes to get myself right, like hydrated, back hydrated. And I didn't know they were going to keep me. They kept me. Girl, how you going to set me down like that? Set my behind down. So I had scheduled visitation and I was hoping they was like, oh, you might get out of ICU today. And then they didn't let me out of ICU that day. And then they was like, you might get out of ICU today. And I'm like, you know what? Stop playing with my emotions. I'll get out of here when I get out of here. I was shutting down. I could not be, that was a lot. Okay, so I was hoping that I would be released in enough time to go to visitation, which is crazy on Sunday. But I wasn't. I was released that Monday. So God knew, I ain't finna let her up out of here to visitation pass because we know she'll be trying to get down there. Something else rhymed with pass because she'll be trying to get her down to the visitation, girl. So we ain't finna let her out until, it's over. It passed. Okay, so I missed visitation. So because I missed visitation and Marcello was calling like that the whole time I was in the hospital in ICU, he was like, I can't sleep, I'm gonna stay up all. I'm like, what are you staying up all night for? Like, what did I'm okay, I guess. I usually say I'm fine, but I know now I wasn't fine, but that's my normal. I'll say I'm fine. But he we didn't get to visit that week and he was so nervous, he was so overwhelmed, he was going through it and it's not the easiest I from his perspective when your loved one is in the hospital and intensive care and you can't be there, right? Girl, why I keep rhyming and it be rhyming right on time? Why I could never freestyle? Y'all know I used to try to freestyle, but I could never do it. But off the top of the head, I just keep rhyming and I ain't even trying, girl. But so this week I have made sure to put in visitation so that I could see him afterwards. Okay, so the first day, Money was like, I'm tired. I had been back and forth. She'd been back and forth to the hospital for me. She was helping me get my prescriptions. It was a lot. And she also herself had to work. Her job would not let her off. They basically were saying if you miss, even if your mother's in the hospital, you're kind of on that chopping block. So she couldn't miss work either. She was still, I usually help with the kids, so she kind of had the kids by herself, still trying to work, still trying to. So she was doing a lot. Money came through for me. Um, so she was like, I'm tired. I really need to get myself together before my work week starts. So I don't want her in this same bad cycle that I'm in. I want her to avoid that. So I understand that. So I went to visitation by myself on the first day. Okay, so I got up. I made me a decent meal. Y'all know I'm usually on visitation day. Okay, so y'all know I said that they cook in the house usually Monday through Friday because my nephews and stuff have to go to school. My dad does cook breakfast. Okay, so breakfast is usually covered. So now I have a few restrictions in portion sizes. So now I got to be mindful of my portions, mindful of exactly what I'm eating. So now I have some substitutions. But my dad has been great. He's taken the little things I've been bringing and he'll cook it or whatever. But on visitation day, there is no food because my dad does not cook. So I had to get up early enough to take my insulin, to make me something because I can't just run out the door, um, get myself ready and together. I am experiencing muscle fatigue, so I'm slower. So I can't just jump up and run. So I'm not just running like I was. So I'm running behind. And I finally get there. I was like, Marcello, they changed count because y'all already know, don't get caught in count. You get caught in count, you finna visit your own self, girl. So count changed with the daylight savings and stuff like that. So I remember it going up. It went from 11:30 to 12:30. So I'm like, it's far enough before 12:30, but if they moved it back, I could still get caught in count at 11:30. So I asked Marcello, did they change count? And he's like, no, count is at the same time. I'm like, are you sure? Like, your girl cover all her P's and Q's. Like, I'm an overthinker, so I think of everything. And he's like, no, count is at 12:30, so you should make it. I get my food, I get on the highway, I get there, and there's one guard. She is such an angel. Honestly, all the guards there, they're very, the facility that he's at now, there's some down to earth people. They seem like, see, I've never made now the culture of the guard and that you hear in all these advocating groups is usually the buttholes, the insensitive, you're beneath me type people. But I always, being a OG prison wife for all these years, I know there's some good guards and there are some bad guards. A lot of times the bad guards outweigh the good guards, but there are some good guards. This place has a lot of good guards. Like everybody is just down to earth. But this one, she's like an angel, and she's like, "Oh, hold on, I come in." So I didn't know about the medicine. I know I didn't have a doctor's note, and I believe you have to have a doctor's note to bring in medication. I'm not sure. So now I'm on this insulin. So I made sure I ate and had my insulin before I go into visitation. But I don't know how to, you know. So I went in and I just planned that upon leaving, I would check my blood sugar quickly in the parking lot. I would do what I have to do, and then I would go and quickly get something to eat before I had to go to work. Right, that was the plan, to not really eat at visitation. Y'all already know. I got the video where DOC has went cashless. Cashless is a cash out, so now we're eating out of vending machines. That is all they have. No more canteen window. Way less options, and now even more less options that of things that I can consume. So I'm like, I don't even know what I'll be able to eat at visitation. So I just plan to not eat at visitation. Okay, so that kind of worked out. I had some sun chips because I had tested how my blood sugar does with them before when I was at the concert the day before. The sun chips didn't really affect my blood sugar and I was good. So they have sun chips, but they have a salsa flavor of sun chips. So I'm like, I don't know how. I'm looking at packages now, looking at the carbs, looking at the sugars, looking at all of that. So I'm like, I don't know but you can't see it through the vending machine. So you literally got to purchase it, buy it, eat it, and see how your body does afterward. And that's what I did. So that first day, I had the salsa chips in a bottle of water. The water is about 280. One bottle is two different brands, the Coke versus the Pepsi. One is 220 for a bottle of water. The other one is like 270. Okay, so I had that in a bottle of water. I got out, got in the parking lot upon visitation ended, and blood sugars were fine, right? So Mr. Marcello, he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see you. You come in, you get that one hug, one kiss. He's like hugging me. We hadn't kissed because if you know about ketoacidosis, DKA, it has this weird behind taste in your mouth. And my mouth was like, it was weird. I guess they call it cotton mouth or something. It was dry. It was weird. I had the disgusting taste, and I didn't feel comfortable kissing up on him with that mouth. No. So we hadn't kissed. We'd just be like that. That's it. That's it. So he actually gave me a kiss and we get hugged or whatever. And he was like holding me. It's like, oh my gosh, do you know that I just can't do this life without you? I'm like, Marcello, that's codependent. You can't be codependent, right? Prison wise and prisoners, we cannot be codependent. So I'm reminding him, no, you have to be all right for you, but he's like, no, you're my better half. I can't do this without you. I'm telling you. Okay, so we hug, we sit down, we did a lot of talking, and he's like, Marcello is right on top of it. He's even talking about writing. In prison, they have something called the Open Book Project, where you can write, the prisoners can write to get different books on different things. And he's like, I'm gonna get a diabetic cookbook and I'm gonna learn these recipes so that I can tell you how to do them and this and that. And he's like giving a lot of suggestions. He's being hands on as much as he can through the distance, through the time distance and the miles and stuff like that. We still try to be as much of a family as we can, right? So we had a good visitation. Um, oh, I forgot to tell you about the angel of a guard. So as soon as I get there, she's like, wait here, right here, Miss Dixon. Everybody, she's the nicest though, but they're all nice. They all love me. I'm very respectable. Even the ones that be tough, like girl, they break down quickly and they love Miss Dixon and her daughter and her grandkids. They love Princess. They always ask about Princess. They always ask about KO. So they just love us. It's just because we're in this situation, but that doesn't determine who we are, right? Anybody can fall into this situation. Good people, bad people, innocent people, guilty people. Anybody could end up in this situation, and this is where we are, right? So she runs and she calls Marcello. She's like, you almost missed it. They were just about to call count. And she said she asked them to hold count so that Marcello could get up there to visitation. I'm like, huh? Hold count for us? Like literally. And I was like, I asked Marcello, did they move count? And he was like, no. And she's like, yeah, count did change. It's now at 12 o'clock. So it went back 30 minutes. So I'm like, oh, okay. I'll try again tomorrow. The same exact thing happened the next day, but my excuse, because she was like, hold on, hold count. I'm like, how I get here at the same time? But this time I had both grandkids and I was trying to get them ready, plus prepare my meal, get my medicine, get out the door. So it was a little bit different, but because I had to take more measures, so I would have been earlier, but I end up at the same time. And she's like, hold count. She said, this is the second time. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm so grateful. I just kept telling her, thank you, thank you. They literally held count for us. That is crazy, right? Okay, so the first day went pretty good. We visit together by ourselves. So he was like, what do you think about bringing, because I was going to bring Princess with me, but I knew upon getting out of visitation, I had to get something before going to work. No more just flying from visitation, eating out their vending machines, running to work, getting lunch whenever they decide to give us lunch. I can't do that. So I knew my plan was to stop by Publix. I was going to get a whole grain sub, and I was gonna eat half of that on my way to work, right? So I know I needed enough time. So I ended up leaving my granddaughter so that I didn't have to go by the house first and then head to work. Just had my uniform, everything with me, and I went, got my little whole grain sub, ate on that, took my medicine, got to work. Now, work was kind of hard. That actually should be in another story time as well. So I'm going to skip past that. But work, that was my first shift back. And your girl Cadillac doing too much. So I went to visitation all day before my first shift back. That's crazy. Okay, so then after getting off of work, I stayed up half the night to about 3 a.m. watching videos, content, still doing research, researching keto diet, researching all these reverse type 2 diabetes diets. And I'm like, oh my gosh, overwhelm. There's so many different things, but we're not going to do that right now. We just going to take in the information, and then Holy Spirit just gonna help me sort through that. And what things are for me, He'll have me receive it, right? But I did stay up to 3 a.m. So my phone died, and Marcello called someone to call me. And I'm like, oh shoot, my phone died, and so, but he's already like worried because he's still thinking I'm not, out the woods. I'm not perfect. So because they was like, it's some other issues. They're like, you don't want to end up with your sugars too low and you slip into, diabetic coma or nothing like that. And what was alarming when I first heard this diagnosis, um, the doctor kept saying that you're extremely high risk for a heart attack and stroke. You need somebody to watch over you. So that kind of alarmed him as well. So he calls, and I'm like, oh, my phone just died. You know how we always think the worst, but it's not the worst. So I get my phone charged up, get my shower. I get my granddaughter ready, my grandson, his grandmother, he was over with his great grandmother, so she had got him ready. So then I get ready to pick up the kid, well, pick him up, get Princess ready. Money did not have the clothes out, so we're gonna have to be more prepared for visitation days, especially because I got more tasks now. So I really want visitations, all of our clothes set out, even my clothes set out, even maybe make my breakfast that night. But the problem is I worked the night before, so it'd be hard to prepare like that because I come in tired. Life just be life, and right. So, anyways, we finally get the kids together, get them out there. You got to have certain things for the kids. So, I pick up my grandson, and he has, I'm hoping in the back of my mind, I'm like, I hope she didn't put him on no camouflage, because even babies, nobody can wear camouflage into visitation, not even the baby. So I'm like, but why would that randomly happen, girl? See, this be the Holy Spirit just leading me. So I pick him up, and he has on camouflage, camouflage socks. So I'm like, oh, she did put him on some camouflage, but at least it's just the socks. So I could take his socks off, but there's no other socks. So my baby feet are all out. Girl, look like I'm just bringing the baby all barefoot and stuff, but I wasn't. But we made it to visitation, and then that's when that same angel guard was like, hold on, you're about to. She said again, just in the nick of time, you made it for count. So Marcello had the babies. We took pictures. He had five prior to me going into the hospital. He just had this thing in his head that he wants like a photo shoot. He wanted 5 pictures. He wanted one with each of us, one with me, one with Money, one with each grandchild, and then one all together. Okay, but he had to keep saving the picture pass because we weren't there. And before, when he first got it, the picture man, like everybody got locked up. All of them went to confinement. So it wasn't a picture man for a minute. And that day, oh my gosh, that day, that's a whole nother story time. End up, someone had got hurt. You see a lot going to these prisons, and they were transporting him out. I was trying to get to work, like rush to work because I leave visitation and got to run, but they wouldn't let me out the gate because the ambulance had to be cleared with this guy with this crazy injury that I'm seeing being taken across me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you see a lot of crazy stuff. But anyway, so back to visitation. So we get in. He makes it to count, and they like, hold on now. I know he ain't VIP. How he hold up count 2 times in a row? Oh my gosh, that's just the favor of God upon us. Yeah. So they count, and then he comes out. We get our hugs. He sees Princess, Akeo, that's his baby. Like, and then he's like, "Oh, Akeo ain't using none of that formula. When he with me, he finna eat." So we go get the food. He's feeding Akeo. I got kind of drained, so I took me a little, put my head down, took me a little nap. We took a little walk around the little patch of grass that they be like, yeah, you can walk on the grass. No, you can't. Yes, you can. No, you can't. So we just walked through the little pavilion, walked around a couple times. And by that time, I was kind of tired. So I really know I'm not myself. I know I'm not myself. So we did that. And I mean, time just went kind of quickly. That day, I ended up eating because I didn't eat much of a breakfast like I did the day before. I believe I just had the half of sandwich from the day before going to work, but it was a half of the half. I ate a half of the sandwich. It's crazy, half of the half. And a boiled egg. That was about all I ate. Um, and then, so I'm like, I guess I'm going to have to eat something throughout this time. We still don't know how I'm going to be checking my blood sugar, which he was asking the guards, did they know that this would know? So they kind of gave me the rundown. So the way that works, they would have to come out to the car with me. They would have to come out, escort me to my car, check my levels, take whatever medicine I have to, and then they have to escort me back in because it is insulin. If it was other medication, I could bring it in if it did not exceed, I believe, 8 hours. But because insulin has to be injected, I cannot bring that in. So they have to escort me out, escort me back in. That's crazy. That, how do I feel about the guards coming out to my car? That's another story time too, because y'all already know the issue I had. But it seems like this facility is more. they're doing things a little bit more copacetic than them ones that be up in the country backwoods up in Florida and that panhandle girl. They be doing what they want to do. But yeah, so that's how that worked. We found out. So if I'm ever feeling like weird, I'm gonna have to be escorted to the car, do whatever I have to do, then come back. Whoa. So can I keep my food in the car? I literally could do that then. Y'all, I just had an epiphany because my cousin was like, wait, if you're diabetic, you can't bring your own food in. They don't have food that you can eat. I could literally pack a cooler. This is going to take more preparation though. And come eat my food, take my medicine, and go back in. That is something. I know that's going to be a lot, but I can do that. Okay. Because I'm like, how am I going to do this with they have literally no options, and especially like all the sandwiches, they're all on white bread, they're all like, what can I eat? That could be a key. So yeah, so anyways, that day what I did eat was I had the sun chips because that didn't bother me, in a bottle of water. 2 hours later, Marcello had this little rib sandwich. He took the bread off and KO ate the bread, and I just ate the patty. I ate the patty of meat. And then we wanted to try these plantains, and I was gonna see how the plantains do with my blood sugar. So I spaced that out over a visitation. The sun chips. Now that's probably crazy. I shouldn't have had sun chips and the plantains, but I ain't getting them plantains no more because they wasn't that good, girl. Not to be running up no sugars and such. No, they ain't that good. But now I'm thinking that little patty, because they probably had barbecue sauce on it, that's probably what kind of elevated a little bit. But it's still, the numbers weren't crazy when I got out and checked. So that's what I ate over visitation. We took our pictures. They came out beautiful. Marcello kept four of the pictures. I got one. Actually, it's the thumbnail here, and then I'll just share it or whatever as well on my community page. The kids, we had a beautiful time. We really did. Thank God we're still together. I'm still here. I'm still here fighting, not only for Marcello, but for others that's wrongfully convicted. Because, I mean, like, God spared me for something. So, does He want me to continue this justice fight? He's definitely going to let me know. Right. All right, guys. So, now I know before I said in the last video I was going to lap it up. I think it's about, I did walk around the shopping center. Um, but I think now I'm going to go home because it's about time to eat and I want to walk. Dang, I really want to go to the park and walk. There ain't no food at that park. So I'm going to have to go back home, eat, and then walk around the neighborhood. But we'll figure it out. Anyways, that was the story time. First time visiting, visiting with new diabetic testing supplies and insulin and how to eat and all of it. This is a lot. And being grateful to visit after getting out of ICU. And remember the bathroom, I told y'all I was in something called DKA, and then it was crazy having to keep using the bathroom. I only went that one time during visitation. I did not have to stay up in there. And I told you how it made me uncomfortable that they have to keep searching me. And then the measures of searching got worse, where now you got to pull your shoes off and this and that. And I didn't stay in the bathroom this time. Ugh. All right, guys. Hiss your girl Cadillac.